Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I thank you for tuning in, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. So y'all, if I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all, I hear cartoons because it's currently 6:27 in the morning. I've been up since 4 a.m. because my 3-year-old toddler going through a sleep regression. So yeah, how fun is that? Yeah, anyways, as you can tell by today's title, we're going to be talking about the things that I experienced with speech delay. So if you have a toddler that is speech delayed or currently having some difficulties with their learning process, sensory issues, anything of that sort, this is the video for you. This is the topic for you. So please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. That way you know the next time I post a new video. And yeah, guys, let's just get into this video. Okay guys, so in the process of me having my daughter, I don't know if I told you guys, but I worked the whole time basically. I finally did decide to take off. It was a week before I had her. So I was only off a week, and then I ended up going into labor. She actually wasn't supposed to be born until 3 weeks later, but I ended up having her early. So yeah, that kind of threw everything off. Ended up having her June 7th. Her original due date wasn't until June the 23rd. She didn't have a lot of issues. She was a normal birth. I was scheduled for a C-section because prior to me getting pregnant with her, having that surgery where I had fibroids. And if you haven't seen that video, please make sure you check it out. All along, I didn't realize that that's what was stopping me from getting pregnant, or I also had some miscarriages as well. But that's another story. But the year before that, the same date of me having her, I had my surgery June the 9th of 2020, and then I got pregnant with her 2 months later, and then I had her June the 7th of 2021. So they thought it was safe for me to have a C-section instead of having a natural birth, which I was completely fine with that because, child, the way that talked to me about those natural births, So I know everybody doesn't like to get cut. You know, they want to keep their body intact and not have any scars and all of that. Child, that's a scar that you'll never see. It's very little, so I didn't mind. And plus I had a great doctor, so it was all okay. But anyways, I noticed that after I got my epidural and everything else, getting her out, they were tugging a lot. Tugging a whole lot. And so I understand, you know, like why it's almost like she was stuck. So it took them some time to get her out. She came out with a cone head. Eventually ended up molding, of course, because you know they tell you to keep the hats on her head to mold their heads. And her head did come out fine. Thank God. So after that, I thought nothing of, you know, nothing. Had all her milestones like she was supposed to. Walking, crawled at like 8 months, 9 months, something like that. And I do want to say this before we get deeper into the video. I want to say that every child is different. Don't compare your child to anybody else's, because that is something that will overcrowd your mind, and sometimes it will drive you crazy, because sometimes you might feel like, oh well, this child is doing this and my child isn't doing this, so my child's behind. Y'all, let your child learn on their time. Every child is not the same. I wish I didn't worry myself with so much of that over her span of 3 years. But, you know, like I said, you live and you learn. I'm a first-time mom, so I beat myself up a lot because it was a lot of time that I lost with her because of my job, having to go back early, her having to go to daycare because I work nights. It's a whole bunch of things, you know, that came into play with that. Me having horrible postpartum. I had really bad postpartum that I didn't shake. Y'all, I tried so hard, and it was actually really scary. Really scary. This is no shade. One thing that I did notice, and you can call it what you want, but I'm gonna say it anyways. My baby was fine up until she got her 2-year-old shot. Whatever the last shots was that she was supposed to get, she was fine. After that, I started noticing a little bit of changes with her. You know, it's really sad that we can't trust, and I'm not just gonna say from the government, I'm gonna just say what they're putting in our stuff, our food, our everything, y'all. It's just really scary right now. It's a really scary time for kids. You know, because we can kind of take a lot more than what they can, but for kids it's really, really sad because it starts with where we're feeding them and, you know, when they're young. And a lot of stuff right now we have is very contaminated, but like I said, that's on a whole nother story, that's on a whole nother level. I'm not gonna get too deep into that today. But she started going to her preschool, and that helped her a lot. Some of the things that the almost 2-year-olds were doing, I noticed she wasn't doing. She was never just completely like nonverbal. I know that everybody has their own definition of nonverbal. For me, I'm gonna say she wasn't completely just nonverbal. She talked, she just didn't have as many words as some of the other kids had. Started kind of worrying a little bit there, and I was like, okay, well, maybe it'll get better over time. I ended up signing her up for ECI. ECI is a free service for children that need help, any speech or any like OT services, stuff like that. They'll come out to the school and work with them once every week. My experience with ECI was horrible. The first therapist that I had, she would come to the house. Y'all, she would literally just like stare at her the whole session and just let her do whatever. How are you gonna teach her anything if you're just sitting there watching her do whatever? Which was so crazy to me. So I requested for her to get a new speech therapist. She was okay. Like, I understand like you giving me an update, but what are you teaching her? And what is she learning from you? And she really wasn't learning a lot from her. I got a lot of complaints from her director of her school, and she was just telling me like she's not really doing anything with her. It really made me upset because they can only use that service for a year. I felt like I wasted a year of time for her in speech. Like, she could have been way past what she was needing to be. When I ended up taking her to her 3-year checkup, they told me that they wanted to get her actual speech services where I would actually have to take her, and they would check with my insurance to see how much of it they cover and yada yada yada. So my insurance ended up covering it, thank God. It was actually a wait list everywhere that I was calling, or everywhere that her doctor had recommended her to go. It was such a blessing because her doctor ended up being able to put her on this list, and it kind of bumped her up past, having to wait. I don't know if it was because of the insurance. I don't know exactly why it was like that. She wasn't really concerned with the way that she was talking. She was just telling me that she felt like kids develop in different ways. I also knew I needed to get her some help in the speech therapy with this place called Monkey Mouse. When I tell you that Monkey Mouse has been a lifesaver for my baby, they really have. Like, she's progressed so much, and I'm not just gonna say that it's all the speech therapy. I feel like it's her getting older as well. I've done a couple of different detoxes on her because there are so many different heavy metals and food that we eat, and and a lot of things that we don't even know. There are a lot of heavy metals when we walk outside. I've done so much stuff to like really help her. Like, she's actually in chiropractic therapy, and for all the ones that have something to say about that, just keep it to yourself. She goes to a pediatric chiropractor, so it's not like what adults experience in their chiropractor services. That's also been a big help for her. After me doing all of my research, I found out that there was this thing called upper cervical alignment or something like that. I'll put it on the screen here. That way that you can look it up and research for yourself. After me doing the research on that, I ended up finding out that when kids happen to come through VBAC, C-section, those kind of births, they end up having birth trauma. I ended up finding out a lot of stuff about that, and y'all, when I tell you it worked for her 100%, I was kind of losing hope at one point because she had a total of 18 ear infections throughout her 2-year span of life, and they were back to back. She kept getting them, so she ended up getting tubes in March. So the whole time I thought that was probably part of it as well. Those actually helped as well. All of it came together basically and helped all along. She's doing so much better, you guys. She talks really well. So I want to say to some of the moms out there, like, please be hopeful. Your child will develop, learn, and talk on their time. Sometimes there are certain things that we actually have to help them with. And that was one thing that was actually going to drive me crazy, because I wanted to hear my baby talk just like anybody else would. So I'm very thankful and blessed that she was able to receive the things that she was able to receive all along, because, you know, y'all, I was so stressed out. I couldn't figure it out. If you feel like your child is in need of help, like, check out the upper cervical thing. Also check out their ears and make sure that they're able to hear really good, because a lot of kids are having issues with their ears, especially if they get reoccurring ear infections, y'all. Also, if you can help them, like, you know, get speech, that would also be great as well. But I just want to say, like, please just don't lose hope, you guys, and please be mindful of the things that we're putting in our kids. Their diet is very important as well. My daughter, she's very picky. I have to be very mindful of what I give her, because there are so many dyes and food and candy and just stuff like that. So the first 5 years are very important as far as their speech. So like I said, if you can get them help, please do it now. Please do it as soon as possible, because those are very important for toddlers, the first 5 years. I always say that after the 5 years is up, it's kind of iffy to know, you know, how far that come. For me, like I said, I feel like, you know, no doctor can tell me anything, because God has the last say so at the end of the day for me. And that's because I'm a believer. The sooner you can get your child help, the better. I just want to come on here and a mom out about, you know, if you're feeling hopeless about your child having speech delay, just get them the help. I noticed one thing about the world today: everybody is quick to throw a name on different things, autism, ADHD, this and that. And there is nothing wrong with your child having that if they do, you know. For me, my child, at the beginning, when they told me that it could be possible for her to have autism, but she wasn't forming sentences, she wasn't able to communicate back and forth, they were telling me that, you know, it was a possibility that she could have autism. And although at first it did make me sad, at the end of the day, what I have to realize is my child is healthy. She's in her right mind. She is still growing and learning. I'm still growing and learning as a mother. And the biggest thing is she's here. I'm going to get her as much help as I can. It's up to me to be able to form her into the best human that she could possibly be. So I can't fail her. So me worrying about a diagnosis or something like that was very selfish at the time for me. I feel like, I know that a lot of us, you know, we just want our kids to be okay. We don't want anything to be wrong with them. But at the end of the day, sorry y'all, we have to count our blessings. We really have to count our blessings on a lot of the things that God gives us. And not everyone can handle some of the things that comes with a child like that. So the way I look at it, just be grateful that your child is healthy and here. When I got to look at her, I was truly thankful, because she's made progress. So everything that I'm putting in, I'm getting back out from her. I just want to say, don't lose hope. Get him or her as much help as you can. And y'all just keep pushing forward. God has our backs. No, it's going to get better over time. And you will be okay. So I thank you guys. I love you. If you need some more questions answered or some more things that I experienced with her, leave a comment down below and I'll be glad to answer it for you. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. That way you know that next time that I post a new video. I'm sorry if y'all heard all the noise in the background. Like I said, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and my daughter wanted to decide to wake up at 4. So I wanted to film this video all week and I haven't really been having the time. So why not do it now? So yeah, guys, I hope this video was helpful for a mom out there, and I love you all. I thank you, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye bye.